Hello, Assalamu Alaikum. Welcome to yet another episode of Sky is the Limit. My name's Fahim Bungish. You're watching PTV World. Now, as always, even today we have a very, very interesting guest with us. And obviously, the guests that we have in our programs are the guests who have achieved something in life, who have made a difference to the society. And even today, the guest we have has made a huge and a lot of difference, and he has a lot of achievements. We have Mr. Zahid Latif Khan. Mr. Zahid Latif Khan, before talking to him, I would like to introduce him properly. He is the chairman, ISE Tower REIT Management Company Limited. He is the chairman and CEO, ZLK Securities Pvt Limited. He is former President Rawalpindi Chambers of Commerce and Industry. He is chairman, Asian Institute of Eco-Civilization Research and Development, which is a think tank. He is director, Pakistan Mercantile Exchange Limited, and director, National Clearing Company of Pakistan. MashaAllah. So welcome to PTV World and Sky's the Limit.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
So it's a huge list of achievements that you have in the CV and the profile that we've seen, and I'd say it's rather impressive. Now, we will be talking about that too, but first of all, we'll talk about the things that not many people know, as in you're brought up, where were you born, your family, so that I think us and the people around you can also know something about you.
All right, thank you once again. So I was born in Abbottabad, and my childhood was there with my parents, but from class 5th onward, I was moved to Rawalpindi. My aunt actually adopted me, so she brought me to Rawalpindi. So from my, schooling was done in Rawalpindi from St. Paul's School, and then college was Government College Rawalpindi. And I got married back in 1989. I've got 5 siblings. My parents used to live in Abbottabad until 1990. So then they moved to USA. Most of my family is in US. My elder brother, my sisters, and now I have got my 4 kids. 2 daughters are married, 2 are studying, all are in USA. But I am here, and I am trying to do whatever I can to make a change, So this is a short story of myself.
Oh, fantastic. Now, also, back when you were growing up, I think most of the people were either going to the medical field or they were going to engineering field. What did you adopt? And if you adopted either of those two, how did you even think of coming into the financial field?
Well, my younger brother is a very senior officer in Pakistan Army. My father wanted one of his child to go into Pakistan Army, and so did my younger brother. I was somehow interested towards the financial world from my, the school time, or maybe in the college times. I remember when I was a student of class 6th or 7th, so the people from the National Savings Center came to our school at that time, and they said that tomorrow we will again come. They tried to inform us about the saving culture and all that. So I brought rupees 10 at that time, and I invested into the National Savings Center at that time. So somehow I was inclined towards this financial things. I was a very vivid reader of Business Recorder and Dawn, when I was a college student even. So I had an inclination towards this thing. So back in 1989, the Pakistan's economy was opening up. And there was a lot of new IPOs which had come, the Ascri Bank, the Ascri Leasing, Sunari Bank, and things like this. So I started putting in some savings into that thing, into IPOs. And in year 1994, I had to sell my entire portfolio. And at that time, the market was at the peak levels. So I made a good amount of money. And only because of that thing, this thing came into my mind that I should be having my own stock brokerage house.
That's lovely. That's lovely. Now, do you think, Mr. Zahid, that is this thing inborn, or is it a learned trait that you get into the financial field? Because some people who become doctors, they say, no, we didn't want to become doctors. It was the pressure of our parents, or same goes with the engineers, or because these two are the main things that the parents want their children to go into, or the army, of course. So was it inborn in you, or the general public, if we speak about? What would you say about that? Do you think it's the environment which also plays a factor in getting you into these fields?
It's an interesting question. Actually, my father wanted me to, do the engineering. So he got me admitted into New Jersey Institute of Technology back in, 1991, and it was in USA, New Jersey. So the admission was done, and since my parents were there, my siblings were there, but I never wanted to go. I had an inclination towards this thing. I said, no, I'm sorry, I don't want to do this thing, but I want to get into this thing. And Alhamdulillah, if I look back, I feel that it was a right choice, and I've excelled into this profession, into this career, and I'm very much satisfied, because my feeling is that if you are satisfied with your profession, only then you can excel. If you don't love your profession, if you don't like your profession, then you are doing a job of from 9 to 5. You cannot excel in that thing. So this is my point.
There's no major growth then. I think we have to pay a lot of credit to your parents, because they did not pressure you into getting you into something that you didn't really want to, right?
Exactly.
Now, sir, coming to your own company, that is ZLK Securities Pvt. Limited, could you tell us something about that?
Yes, as I was mentioning you earlier, that I had been doing IPOs investment, small savings at that time. So I had to sell my entire portfolio back in 1994, and at that time I made a good amount of money. So that thing brought me to having my own brokerage house. So in October 1994, I started my brokerage house with a very, very small brokerage house in Rawalpindi, with a license from one of the top stockbrokers in Karachi. So I had started my journey from that, and in 1999 I bought the membership of Islamabad Stock Exchange, and from there, in 2001 I was the director at Islamabad Stock Exchange. Soon after, 1.5 years after becoming member of Islamabad Stock Exchange, this was again a great privilege for me to become the director. So from there, my role in the leadership of the business and financial world started.
Right, and right now you're holding so many positions. You're the chairman. I would not like to repeat the whole list. It's a whole list. How are you managing everything?
So I'm blessed, I would say, by virtue of my being the chairman of ISE REIT Management Company. This is the second consecutive tenure of 3 years each that I'm holding as a chairmanship. But before that, I had been, consistently on the board of directors of Islamabad Stock Exchange and Pakistan Mercantile Exchange. So these are all related to the capital market. So, that's why I don't feel, awkward in serving in those institutions, because they all are interlinked to the capital market. So this is my passion, this is my interest. So I work there as well with my own, strong willingness.
People in the business community, they always tend to have problems. There are bottlenecks, although the government is doing all that it can to remove that. We often hear these terms in news. Ease of doing business index, Pakistan's government is working on that. It's improving that. Now, could you shed some light on that? As in, You deal with the business community throughout your career, you have dealt with them. What sort of bottlenecks are there, and what can be done to remove those bottlenecks?
Yes, actually, there are many bottlenecks in doing business. It's not only the ease of doing business, but the cost of doing business. Both are very high. But recently, somehow this government has been successful in, upgrading our ease of doing business index internationally. And I am privy to a few information that again there is the Securities and Exchange Commission of Pakistan is working very seriously on ease of doing index, and they are bringing some few reforms into the into the laws and regulations of SECP to ease the access to the business. But still, we think that a lot of work has to be done in achieving this goal, and there are challenges. Undoubtedly, there are challenges, but I think we are in the right direction. We are moving ahead. Although the pace is very slow, but I think that things are in the right direction, and hopefully we will be able to achieve good results, inshallah.
And also, you mentioned that your family still lives in the US, right? What is it that makes you stay away from your family and work so passionately in this field? Or is it this field, or is it the love for the country?
Yes, again, I understand that the entire burden is on my wife, because she is taking care of the kids, especially two younger kids comparatively who are into the universities these days, and she is sacrificing. I often go there and try to spend some time with my family, but honestly, I'm very busy over here.
I can tell.
Yeah,
yes.
But sometimes they come, in the summer vacations and winter vacations. But most of the time, I'm here working in all these sort of activities, my business activities, my social activities, my business leadership activities. All are, working, going in one direction.
Going hand in hand and in one direction, you're right. Now, your involvement in unification of the Islamabad, Lahore and Karachi Stock Exchange has been pivotal and phenomenal. Could you shed some light on why there was a need for the unification of these stock markets, and how has it facilitated the business community?
Yes, actually, Islamabad Stock Exchange and Lahore Stock Exchange had always been desiring to have an access on the Karachi Stock Exchange,
because that was the economic hub.
The economic hub, and which was the largest and the oldest stock exchange in Pakistan. So somehow we could not get the proper access, and so in 2007-8, Islamabad Stock Exchange and Lahore Stock Exchange made a unified trading platform among the two exchanges. So for 3-4 years we had been running it very successfully, but eventually that also did not yield good results. So back in 2015, Government of Pakistan wanted to demutualize exchanges, and they wanted to, in the best international practice, according to the best international practice, they wanted to give away the 40% stake to the foreign consortium investors. So the Chinese came in, and since our market is very small as compared to our regional and the neighboring countries, unfortunately there is a very low percentage of financial literacy in Pakistan. There are very few people who are involved into the capital market. Nevertheless, so all the three exchanges agreed to get merged. Their trading things got merged, and Pakistan Stock Exchange came into being in 2016, the first month of 2016. But all the three exchanges' balance sheet and the assets were separated. So we, as a Islamabad Stock Exchange, when got converted into Pakistan Stock Exchange, our company was given a license of NBFC, non-banking finance company, with the license of real estate investment trust. So this building and our shareholding with different capital market institutions were merged into one entity, which is called ISU REIT Management Company now. And Alhamdulillah, we are running it very, very successfully. For the last 5 consecutive years, we are giving dividend, and every year the dividend is better and much than the last year.
Also, we have seen in the reports and news that just a few weeks back, PSX was given an award by the GIFA as the best Islamic stock market. How happy does that make you, and what are your sentiments about that?
You see, the Islamic and Sharia compliant banking is the buzzword these days in the entire world, not only in the Islamic countries, but in the Western countries. The Sharia banking and Islamic banking is very, very popular. So? Yeah, it is. Even, you know, the big, large Western banks have also opened the window for the Islamic banking. So, in Pakistan, there are one board which is called the Sharia compliant companies. All the Sharia compliant companies are on that board. So the people who wants to invest only into the Sharia compliant listed companies, they can go onto that board and buy shares from those select companies. So it was very popular thing, and that's why the Pakistan stock market, stock exchange has been declared the best one among this category.
I see. Now, you spoke of financial literacy in Pakistan, which happens to be very low. First of all, how would you compare it with the neighboring countries? And second of all, what can be done to make people more empowered as far as this field is concerned, as far as the financial literacy is concerned?
So Pakistan's, penetration into the capital market is very, very low. For example, our population is 220 million conservatively, but our people who are into the stock market are only 250,000 people, which is not even 0.25% of the entire population of this country. But if we look at our neighboring country, except of course Afghanistan, then all of them are having a much larger percentage of people having direct interest into the savings and into investment into the stock market. So who is to blame? I think all the stakeholders are to be blamed. We as a stockbrokers are to be blamed. The regulators are to be blamed that we did not do enough for this thing. But now I'm telling you very seriously that as you know, the initiative by the State Bank of Pakistan about the RDA, Roshan Digital Account. So through that Roshan Digital Account, not only Pakistan is getting foreign exchange, but also the people, Pakistani people living abroad are having their brokerage account with the stock exchange through the brokerage firms. Then the banks in Pakistan have now, started opening accounts for their clients, for their deposit holders to have their brokerage account as well. So things are moving in, we are very hopeful. Online account opening has just started few months back. RDS started only 1 year back. So these are the measures which this government or the regulators, be it SECP, be it State Bank of Pakistan, they are doing these actions, and that's why we are very hopeful that now the things will be in the right direction. As far as the brokerage community is concerned, so in my humble capacity, since I have the largest network of branches in the north of Pakistan, so I voluntarily go to the colleges and universities to give lectures on the financial literacy. I invite students to come to ISC Tower, to my brokerage house. I give option to the internship to bright students to have real-time knowledge about the stock market through my brokerage houses, my branches. So this is what we can do, and I think all other stockbrokers in the entire country should be doing these sort of efforts to impart education, financial literacy to the younger people, because these days youngsters are too much into the cryptocurrency and Ponzi schemes and all sort of things like this, but they should be brought into the mainstream, and they should be given the knowledge about the saving culture.
That's true, because I remember when I was doing my MBA, we did not have any such speakers coming in the university and talking about these things and making us more and more empowered in the sense that we'd be able to make a proper decision in the practical field in a pragmatic way. We did not have that. And which is why I think that we never really got into it. I think that is why.
That's true. Now the institution has been created by SECP few years back, Institute of Financial Market, IFMP. So they have actually prepared a curriculum also, and I think that is already placed into the schools and colleges, so that the students at this age, they should learn how to do the saving and how to make investment into the capital market, because world over, this is a very, very safe instrument for the savings, for the long-term growth, and to beat the inflation actually.
That's true, that's true. Also, we know that you have a great liaison with the diplomatic community. You have been working on bringing in investment into Pakistan as well. Could you shed some light on that?
Yes, actually I was the president of Rawalpindi Chamber of Commerce back in 2017-2018, and during my stint as the president for 1 year, I took 7 delegations abroad, taking Pakistani businessmen for the export, growth of export things. And during that time also, Rawalpindi Chamber, under my presidentship, took a very large delegation of businessmen to Gwadar. So I had a very strong feeling that the CPEC and the Gwadar connectivity to the Central Asian states through Afghanistan is a very, very important thing, and it's going to be a game changer for Pakistan and also for the Central Asian states, because they are landlocked countries,
yes,
full of rich, products, what you call it, minerals and resources. Yes, so we had been working on these lines. So actually, I am the chairman of a think tank by the name of Asian Institute of Eco-Civilization Research and Development. Through this NGO, the think tank, we are bringing in the prosperity for Pakistan through connectivity with Central Asian countries.
So also I would like to ask you, because we often get to hear these terms, microeconomy, macroeconomy, how the poor person is getting affected by both, and how not is he getting affected by both. Could you shed some light on both these the terms?
Yes, actually the macroeconomic policies are very important, so that if the proper economic policies are made at the macro level, it will translate into the micro level. Right. And that's how the ordinary person will get benefit out of it. If your macro policies are not correct, then there is no chance that the micro economy will be recovered or would be into a productive thing.
And again, that's where financial and economic literacy comes in, because whatever the government is doing, I think that's on a macro level, and like you also mentioned, that we are going into the right direction. But people do not understand. What they see is the rising inflation. What they see is them not getting any benefit out of all the investments that the government is making, all the foreign community that is making investments in Pakistan. The CPEC, like you mentioned, you have been involved in CPEC since the beginning of it, and you have been to different countries. You've brought in different diplomatic community, foreign investors as well. How much job creation have they done? Because we see the news reports, we see the news items, but what is the ground reality?
So I think, because of the COVID in the last 2 years, there had been a shift of job opportunities. For example, all the hospitality industry, all the airline industry was, into very, very bad shape. But all the IT industry and few other industry, pharmaceutical, and they were booming. So as I know that there is a strong demand of IT professionals in Pakistan, and there is a less supply actually. People are looking for a good resource to have strong people over there, qualified and experienced people, but there is dearth of this thing. So there are, I believe, but there are people who are jobless because of the hospitality industry. But this government, because of the COVID, took a good decision last year, and the Prime Minister was able to convince the IMF to give amnesty to the construction sector. That played a very, very important role. That's why you have seen that despite all odds, despite all challenges, our GDP was in plus actually, and it was a good number. And again, this year we are expecting, coming year we are expecting to be a very good year for the growth. Barring few challenges, for example, the inflation is picking up because international commodity prices are picking up.
Yes,
so this
true.
is a challenge for Pakistan. Oil prices are getting high. The food items are getting high internationally. So these are the challenges which we see for the growth of our GDP. But there are challenges, but there are opportunities. For example, in the last 2 years, we have seen very strong inward remittance from Pakistanis diaspora.
Yes, figures never heard of.
Yeah,
Exactly. Very correct.
That is very encouraging. Then our textile, exports have picked up because there was very strong lockdowns in China and India, both our neighboring countries. So the orders flowed towards the Pakistan, and Pakistani exporters got benefit out of it. So we need to sustain this thing. We need to work hard for the growth of export in Pakistan. That is very much required. And I think in this government is a little bit lacking because of we have been hearing this thing for the last maybe 10 months that a new textile policy is coming, but somehow they have not been able to reach some consensus point to announce a textile policy. So these are the things which are the challenges for Pakistan. I think the entire government needs to work maybe 18 hours, 20 hours a day to fill in the gap, because there is a lot of things to be done actually.
That's true. Now, also, sir, you own a brokerage firm. To come and invest in order for them to encourage this culture of investment in the stocks?
Actually, it's only because the people do not have the awareness about the capital market because of the stock market. If you look at when we see the graphs, when we see the different assets class, when we see the return on the different asset class, be it putting your money into bank or National Savings Center, buying some property, buying gold or even dollars, the longer period of time, if you see the graph, the return on the stock market is much higher than that of all other asset classes. So this is the knowledge which people do not know. We need to give awareness about this thing, one. Second thing is that there had been some hiccups, there had been some frauds and problems with the stock exchange, with the stockbrokers, which have been curtailed, absolutely curtailed by the regulators now. So there is no more any fraud or some things like this. And important thing is to bring in new IPOs, the companies which are performing good in Pakistan and they want to go public. So they should be coming to the stock market for raising their capital needs and getting themselves listed on the stock exchange. So this culture has, after many years now, it has again started actually. So we have seen in last 4-5 months, 5-6 IPOs coming in, and all were oversubscribed, all were very well received by the investors in Pakistan. So these are good developments taking place.
Lovely. Now, sir, shall we move forward and explore the building and your offices?
All right, most welcome.
So viewers, welcome back to Sky's the Limit, and of course we have Mr. Zahid Latif Khan with us. So Mr. Zahid Latif Khan, I think we should move around more and see more of your office.
Sure.
So sir, heading a brokerage firm, I'm sure you've traveled the world and you've seen the stock markets of different countries of the world. As far as Pakistan is concerned, where do we lag behind? I know we do lag behind. There are many opportunities that Pakistan can take. There are many stakeholders who can be included. But which are the main areas that you would highlight?
This is very, very important question, and this should be addressed actually. Whenever we go abroad and we do the road shows for showcasing our companies and their growth, the foreigners are generally very much interested in Pakistani companies because our dividend yield is best in the peer countries. Our PE ratio, price to earning ratio, is one of the best in the world. So the companies are making huge profits in Pakistan because Pakistan is a 6th largest populous country in the world, as you know. So there are consumers, consumer-driven economy is there in Pakistan. And all the companies, be it the cement sector, steel sector, automobile, pharmaceutical, everyone is making a good amount of profits. But the only impediment why the foreigners are reluctant, as a fund managers coming to Pakistan, is because of the placement of Pakistan into different sort of categories by the international organizations and the rating agencies. For example, there is inconsistent political setup. You have been seeing that the rapid change of the governments, the influence of non-state actors into the government. Then there is our neighboring countries had always been an issue for Pakistan. Then if not the law order situation, but law and order situation, but also the terrorism thing that has also hampered the confidence in investing
of
in
the
Pakistan.
investors. Yes.
Yeah, these were the challenges. Otherwise, for our country, the PE is a very important indicator for investing into any stock market. So our PE is one of the lowest in the region. But why they don't come? Because of these fears. Otherwise, in India, the PE is much higher, but there is a lot of foreign investment over there. True. There are two reasons basically. One is the political stability, and the other is the depth of the stock market. Our depth of the stock market is also very shallow. So we need to bring in more companies. We need to privatize all the sick units through the privatization commission, so that they should not be a burden on the exchequer of Pakistan. And if those companies are brought to the stock market, even if they are not making profits right now, but when they will go into the private hands, they will start yielding good results actually.
And do you think there should be more IPOs?
Yes, of course, yes. This is very, very important because in last 5 years we have seen more companies getting delisted from the stock exchange than the new companies coming in for the listing of the stock exchange. This is a wrong trend. We need to reverse this trend. We need to have more and more companies coming to the IPO.
Now, obviously, every business has its slumps. I'm sure the stock market has had its dips as well in the past. Did you ever get discouraged by those dips?
Actually, we have seen very, very bad times during my career. But the word you used, discourage, alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah, because of the, you call it faith, iman. I had a very strong belief that things will be all right, things will be okay. I had been encouraged by my family as well, you know, that these are the bad times. Don't worry, because you had seen very, very good times also. So fight it back. So we had seen, because you know there had been consistently change of government. Then there was, you know, a nuclear explosion. Then the foreigners were getting out of country. You know, all of their investments they were liquidating. Then the freeze of foreign currency account back in '98. Then 9/11. Then sort of a martial law in Pakistan. These were the things which hampered our businesses like anything. You know, technically in Pakistan, almost all the businesses are cyclic, because we are an emerging economy. We are an economy where there is always uncertainty. So every business faces the same sort of a thing. 2-3 years they are having a honeymoon period, and then there are 2-3 years they are having the worst of their times. But these type of things create opportunities actually also. So if you see it positively, you find a good opportunity into it. But for the country, I think the consistent rise in the GDP, the consistent rise in the economic activity is very, very important.
That's true. Now, talking about the younger population of the country, we did speak about that previously as well. But right now, a major chunk of our population is the youth, right? What we commonly see is that they will purchase a car and they will sell off the car on some profit, some really a couple of thousands or 100,000, 200,000, right? But when it comes to the stock exchange, people say, no, there is a lot of uncertainty, there is a lot of stress, there is a lot of, you can lose millions in a second, right? That's the common perception of the youth, right? So besides the colleges and universities, do you think that some sort of information or basics of the stock markets or businesses can be included in their curriculum as well, or maybe as a guest appearance in the school level, so that it should be imbibed into their brains that this is also something which we can perhaps invest in our future, and this is also something which is uncertain but gives you a lot of return?
You see, I would say that we at Zahid Latif Khan Securities have an MOU signed with many colleges and universities. So we are trying to impart education, the financial literacy to the younger generation. Another thing is that somehow our media was not educated financially in the financial matters, so they would not be covering the news in a very proper way. But now the things are happening in such a way that people know how to report it. When you do the day trade, when you are into speculative activity, then you would tend to lose millions of rupees in a one day or something like this. But if you are a smart investor, if you're a long-term investor, then you don't worry about the price movement. You should have a faith of that particular company, of that particular sector, and in the country in general, that these things are going to go high. I mean, these companies are progressing, they are going ahead with their business plans and all that. So day-to-day movement, because somehow this country is full of news, full of breaking news actually, So whenever there is a breaking news, the stock market is fluctuating heavily. But for a long-term investor, it should not be a worry at all.
So do you think the media houses and channels should start programs on these things?
I am sure they must do it, because you know there used to be a CNBC channel in Pakistan. Yes. I remember I would go there for interviews and all that, but it has been closed. Unfortunately, there are two types of Pakistan in Pakistan. One Pakistan is from 7 a.m. to till 7 p.m. when there is, and all the organization, all the offices are working, schools, colleges are working. And then there is another Pakistan which is from 7 p.m. to 11 p.m. when there are talk shows. And when you see and listen to the talk shows, it looks like that tomorrow Pakistan would be no more, unfortunately, So that thing to be reversed. We should give hope and good knowledge to our youth.
I think the perception of the masses should be changed.
Yeah, that's
right.
That's very important. As we protest and we complain that there are two types of Pakistan portrayed. One is actual Pakistan, and the other Pakistan is portrayed by CNN and BBC, unfortunately, as if there is blood flowing on the streets, but it's not like that. I have been very closely working with the ambassadors, and every one of them, honestly speaking, be it the Asian ambassadors or the European ambassadors, they would speak very high about Pakistan and the Pakistani people, because they are very hospitable, they are very friendly, they are very loving. And whenever they go to the hotels, restaurants, and on the other places, they say that we had a very bad or wrong perception about Pakistan, but now when we are in Pakistan, it's altogether a different country. So these are the things we need to portray.
Most definitely, I totally agree. Also, have you instilled any of these values or transferred your passion, should I say, perhaps in your children?
Yes, my son, I have only one son, and 3 daughters, and my son was here actually until 1 week back. He went back to USA, but he was doing internship after completing his education. He was doing internship over here, and I intend to bring him into this business because I feel that it has a potential, it has a long way to go. And me as a stockbroker for the last maybe 27 years, I feel myself that it is imperative upon me, it is my social responsibility to pass it to the new generation, that how this stock market can play a vital role in the economy of any country. So we need to tell this thing to our young generation.
So, shall we move?
Sure, you're most welcome. Please.
Welcome back to Sky's the Limit. We're with Mr. Zahid Latif Khan. Mr. Zahid, people do want to invest at times. They do feel like investing, but for them, it's like perhaps you have to invest 8 to 1 million rupees, perhaps 5 to 600,000 rupees. What's the minimum investment that you can make in order to get into this, in order to make a long-term investment and get perhaps successful in it?
You see, there is no limit. The bottom
Right.
limit or either or the top limit. You should have the ability to save some money to put into the stock market for a longer period of time. Keep this thing in mind, that there is no shortcut to the success. So I started, investing 5,000 rupees at that time. So now people, if students can, invest 5,000 rupees, maybe 10,000 rupees, they can ask their parents to put their savings into the stock market rather than putting into some other investment avenue. That's the key thing,
That's true. And very informative indeed. Sir, before I bid you farewell, I have to take a message for all the people who are watching out there, and for all the people who are in the stock business, for all the people who are into the financial industry, one message for all.
See, our 60% population consists of the younger generation, as you know this, right? So it's a very large number.
True.
And not only that, if they want to come to the stock market or to the financial market, wherever they want to go, the important message is that there is no shortcut to success. One must be sincere and honest with his profession. And they should excel in that profession by dedication and by sincerity and by honesty. These are few things, because unfortunately the society in general has become with the mindset of shortcut. Shortcut is no solution. This is my strong belief, and I want to give message to the youth for this thing.
Indeed, your interview today has been a pleasure, and you have been a great influence for me, and I'm sure for all the people who are watching you.
Pleasure is all mine.
I'm sure that you will influence them as well. That A, to work hard as much as possible, B, to get into the field of their own interest, and C, to come to the financial industry if they want to, instead of getting pressured by anyone in the family or in the friends circle, anybody. And I'm sure I myself would be able now to come and perhaps invest in something or the other. As you said, there is no limit.
Yeah, definitely.
Bottom line of the investment.
So I think that today is a good day for me, that at least I have tried to convince a single individual to come to the financial world. That is my success, I believe.
Awesome, sir. Thank you very much for
Same
being on the
here.
program.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Viewers, this was today's episode of Sky is the Limit. Mr. Zahid Latif Khan, of course, he influenced me. I'm sure he will be influencing you people as well. Because something that's very important in life, making a difference. Even if you make a difference in your own life, that's going to be of huge significance, let alone making a difference in people's lives. And Mr. Zahid Latif Khan is doing his best. He did make a difference in his own life in the beginning of his career. He has made tremendous difference in the lives of the others as well. May we succeed. May we all find a purpose in our lives. Thank you for watching Sky is the Limit. Keep watching PTV World. It's Fahim Bangish bidding you farewell.